So let's quickly recap the last talk. That is Buddha answered the question by Manjushri. The main question is about the Dharma practice of the pure, genuinely aroused causal ground and how to initiate the pure mind in Mahayana. So the main answer from Buddha is that everything relies on the complete illumination of the pure intrinsic enlightenment. So in from last talk, we talked about Tathagata or Buddha nature, that is the foundation for all the existence. So Buddha explained what the complete enlightenment is, and we talk about the Buddha path from ordinary people, the initial stage to the final stage called the nature of the complete enlightenment or the Buddha nature. And so for the first chapter by Manjushri, that we establish, we know what the goals is, and also we generate the faith that we want to go from what we are right now into the Buddhahood. And in the talk, the bodhicitta is very important. So from this chapter, that we will talk more about the bodhicitta and the Dharma practice. And this chapter specifically is emphasized on the mindset and guidelines. So when we know about the Buddha nature or the complete enlightenment, obviously most of them in the assembly, including us, did not get enlightenment. And so Bodhisattva Samantabhadra stand up and ask more questions for all of us. And the question, the first part goes like, great compassionate Lord Honor One, upon hearing about this pure state of complete enlightenment, please explain to the multitude of bodhisattvas in the assembly, as well as for all sentient beings who cultivate Mahayana in the Dharma ending age, how to practice, so that we can see or return back to the pure state of complete enlightenment. And so Manjushri asked, setting the goal for all of us, and also told us that we need to have strong faith and bodhicitta in order to go from initial stage, the ordinary people's stage, all the way to the ultimate stage, the Buddhahood, without deviating from this path, so we can avoid all the illness. And now, from the second bodhisattva, we need to know, the guideline and also the method. So the second question, specifically, Samantabhadra asked, Buddha talked about everything or illusory. If these sentient beings understand that everything's are illusory, then body and mind are also illusory. Then how to use illusion to eliminate illusion? Sorry about the typo. So this is a very important question that we need to understand what we are right now. Okay. See, this is a clip. If you see it for 30 seconds or 1 minute, you will see the dancing girl rotate, because this is not on-site talk, so I cannot do the survey. But from my previous experience, when I played this to the audience, and then some of them will insist that they see these dancing girls always clockwise, doing clockwise rotation. And some will see that these girls switch the directions in between. And very few, but still some, will see this dancing girls in the counterclockwise direction. And why? There are two major parts that we need to reflect on. The first is this dancing girl is actually illusory. There is no dancing girl there. And then secondly, why our mind perceive this in a different way? Some clockwise, some counterclockwise, some switch in between. And what happened to our mind? And of course, you can say that because the brain, okay, the brain has, our brains are different. So that's why things go different way. But no matter what, we use this so-called ordinary mind to perceive what had happened around us and then make judgment and then decide what to do next. Okay, so the problem is the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra asked, if the object that we perceive are illusory and the mind perceive this object are also illusory, then how can we practice? How can we use this illusory mind to eliminate the illusory object? And so the question continues, because all these questions are very important and yet very profound. From Master Tai Shi, his classification for this sutra is that Bodhisattva Samantabhadra is asking these questions for those Bodhisattva beyond the first muni, so very high practitioners. So the question continues: if all illusory characteristics are annihilated, then there is no mind. Who is going to carry out practice? How to further practice samadhi of imaginary manifestations? So if at a certain point, when the practitioners get to the point that the subjectivity and objectivity cease, and where is the mind? And there is no mind. And some people will think that they are enlightened because they don't have the duality attachment, but it's not. And there is a who is going to carry out the practice, because Buddha further teach us the practice of samadhi of imaginary manifestation. And then if all sentient beings never start practicing and always remain confined to illusory projections amidst birth and death, they will never see through this illusory appearance as such. How could they be liberated from such deceptive mind? It's just like us, if we don't practice and we see this cycle of life and death as just as is, and then we never try to understand or never understand that all these are illusory appearance, conditional illusory appearance, then we just trap in this worldly phenomena and commit more karma and generate more suffering, or of course happiness as well, the so-called happiness, and then just, you know, we just trap in this samsara and we'll never get liberated. So Bodhisattva Samantabhadra asked this question, you know, asked the compassionate about Buddha to teach us, you know, since we are not very sharp root, we cannot get enlightened, we cannot see our complete enlightenment immediately after Buddha point out that we do have it. Then what are the expedient means for gradual practice in order to be permanently free from all illusions? So that's the question by Samantabhadra. And Buddha concludes Bodhisattva Samantabhadra's question, saying that, okay, you great, very good. Actually, you are asking the practice of the Samadhi of imaginary manifestation. And actually, there is a sutra called the Sutra of Samadhi of imaginary manifestation. I just read it last week. It is two scrolled, and then basically in this Sutra of Samadhi of imaginary manifestation, that Manjushri used his super knowledge to manifest himself in many different worlds, in different forms, doing different things at the same time, and show this to all the assembly to help them understand that what is so-called the imaginary manifestations. And of course, that everyone need to enter into this samadhi in order to see this imaginary manifestation. And then upon seeing this phenomena that manifested by the Manjushri in the sutra, and then the assembly got enlightened. So in other words, Manjushri is trying to show us that all the existence in all worlds are imaginary manifestations, and that's illusory. That manifestation has no entity, and so trying to help all the audience to let go of attachment to the appearance of existence. Anyway, so Buddha continued. He said that all illusory manifestation of sentient beings arise from the wondrous mind of the Tathagata's complete mind. Very simple statement, but very important. Just like what I just described in the Sutra of the Samadhi of imaginary manifestations. All the sentient beings exist in different forms, in different worlds, are arised from the complete mind. That means two main important points. First is this illusory was not given birth by the complete enlightenment. Meaning that, you see, when our parents give birth to us, to the baby, we take part of mother's gene and part of father's gene, and then we were born as an independent body. And this concept is like, yeah, it's like some of the Brahman's concept is we have part of the parents, but we have the entity. We have a permanent entity, independent permanent entity. Then this is called give birth to, you know. But here Buddha said no. This is a rise. It's just like the complete enlightenment is just like the ocean, you know, the unmoving ocean, and all the illusory phenomena arise from the oceans, like become the waves, the big waves, small waves. But this wave has no independent entity, not independent from the complete enlightenment. At the same time, it's different from the complete enlightenment because it has the wave shape. And at the same time, it's no different from the complete enlightenment by nature. Okay, so, and how come all this illusory will arise? How arise? And in Srangama Sutra and in the Sutra of the Awakening of Faith, this is a very important statement. The Buddha says that one unenlightened thought leads to the rising of the three subtle appearances. And the grasping of the appearances of manifestations nurtures the growth of the six course appearances. So in other words, we all sentient beings originally are in a state of enlightenment. And then there's one unenlightened thought, then the ignorance initiate. And then it will continue to generate the so-called subjective perceiver. And once the subjective perceiver appear, then there's objective world appear. Okay, this is called the three subtle appearances or three subtle manifestations. And then once the objective world manifest and the mind grasp this objective world, then next the six cross appearances manifested. So we will have discriminating knowledge, and then the concept of continuity, and then we generate attachment, and then we reckon reckoning names, and then we creating more karma, and the suffering bound to the karma follow. And so this is basically the map, the framework for our existence. And all these illusory appearances come from one unenlightened thought. And the whole Srangama Sutra is trying to explain the process and how, of course, how to practice in order to get back to the enlightened state. And then Buddha continued to, and point out that everything arises from the complete enlightenment. Okay, and then just like the illusory flowers come to exist in the empty sky. However, when the illusory flowers vanish, the nature of the empty sky remains. Okay, So it's just like if we have eye floaters, people will see, you know, a spot or something like flowers in the eyes when there is nothing. Okay, you see things floating around, and then when your eyes got cured, it disappear. And then so Buddha say that though no matter the illusory flower exists or not, the empty sky, you know, remain. So that's also the property of the Buddha nature, that the Buddha nature, there is nothing, you know, more when things appear, and there's nothing last when things disappear. Okay, so the objective manifestations does not affect the emptiness of our Buddha nature. And then Buddha continue, the extinction of sentient beings' illusory minds relies on the elimination of the illusory manifestations. When all illusions are eliminated completely, the enlightened mind remains unmoved. So now we know the objective manifestations are illusory, and then how to see our minds also illusory. We still need to use, you know, count on the phenomena of the elimination of the illusory manifestation. That, for example, oftentimes we never thought about that, you know, this me or I problem. We were born to know that I am who I am, until that when we are going to die, then we will start to ask, you know, where am I going to be? And who am I going to be? And who am I indeed? Without this illusory objective manifestation, it's impossible for us to see our illusory mind. So Buddha said, we cannot leave this world phenomena to see this illusory mind. And so for the practitioners, you cannot leave this world in order to see your mind. And yet, Buddha said that when, you know, all the illusion, the subjectivity and objectivity, the subjective illusory illusion and objective illusions are all eliminated, we will see the enlightened mind, which remains unmoved there. So here, unmoved means things rise and perish, arise and perish. You know, things like there's a movement, like ocean waves, give rise to the wave and come down, up and down. But this enlightened mind never moves. Okay. So the answer, continue. Describing enlightenment based on illusion is also an illusion. So if we want to, just like, you know, if I try to explain a cup to a blind people. So a cup, I use, you know, this cup is white. This white is illusion for the blind people, because he never see white. And it's made of cement. It also, like, what is cement? And it's hard, it's round shape, and all that. I try to use all the explanation that are illusory to the blind people to certain things. It's impossible. It's also an illusion for that. Okay. And so Buddha saying, trying to tell us, don't try to use our illusory mind or use illusory phenomena. Try to understand what enlightenment is. It's impossible. And then to say that enlightenment exists, it's not rid of illusion yet. To say that enlightenment does not exist is also no different. That's the extinction of illusion is indicating as the unmoved. So Buddha trying to tell us that to try to break our concept and not to attach, not to have the upside down view as exist or non-exist. And all the phenomena, all illusions is ever changing. And then so what is not changing is our true mind. Now, this is very important part. So Buddha suggests 4 steps that we can detach from the illusions and then eventually see our true mind. First is to detach from all illusory manifestations, objective manifestations. So in our daily life, Shifu in his book suggests that we should detach the attachment to, for example, money, the family, the social status, your house, your career, everything that manifests outside that we should detach. But it doesn't mean that we don't want them. Detach means that not trapping by them. For example, okay, there is a war, Russian and Ukraine. And so the stock market kind of crash. You probably lost a lot of money in one day or in 1 week. And it's a loss from mundane value. But you know you lost a lot of money, but it doesn't mean that you lost you. You have a lot of money, you have much less money, should not affect how you live, or at least has less influence on your life. You may have a good family and you may divorce, and you may not, you may be single, but it's not a judgment for you to live happy or not. Okay, you have good family, that's wonderful. You divorce, you can also have a good life. And so Buddha trying to tell us that we still live in this illusory world, but don't attach to it. Don't track, tie ourselves up with all this illusory phenomena. Because money comes and goes. You make a lot of money that you cannot spend, all of them. And one day you die, those money belongs to your children or to the government. The same for all the belongings, and the same for your family members and loved ones. So the first, don't attach to all this worldly phenomena. And second is detach from all illusory mental activities. I remember a few years ago, I visited San Francisco, and I talked about this before. I visited San Francisco, and people took me for hiking. So we went to a very beautiful mountain, and beautiful scenery. And so there are a lot of people around. And so we just walk around, and when we went plan to leave, then there is a guy, looks like 50 or 60 something. He had a very good equipment, for filming. And then he saw me, and he tried to talk to me while I'm trying to leaving. I was trying to leaving, and then he tried to catch me, saying that, I like meditation, I said, oh, good. He knew that I'm a Buddhist nun, and then he said, I like meditation. I said, oh, wonderful. And he continued to say, I have experienced losing time and space, that I'm in the state of, great vast of existence, something like that. Then that drew my attention. So I stayed, and I asked him, how come you have such experience? What method are you practicing? Because he asked me, is that an enlightenment? He said that when he was a teenager, he ran away from home because his father, who was a veteran from Vietnam War, always he said that abused him. It sounds like a domestic violence. And he said that his father always used violence to take care of all the problems that arise in his family, to his mother and to the children. So at some point, he cannot tolerate anymore. So he ran away from home and stayed in the park, fooling around for a whole year. And then one day in the park, he was sitting there without any thinking. And suddenly, he lost the sense of space and time, according to his statement, that he has a very profound experience. And since then, he's very interested in Buddhism and meditation. So he asked me, is that enlightenment? I did not answer his question. Instead, I asked him, so how did that experience change you? And he just said, oh, after that experience, I'm not scared anymore. I went back home, I beat my father's up. And after that, my father never, ever touched me again. And I was kind of silent for a short moment. And obviously in my mind, it's definitely not enlightenment, but I don't want to discourage him. So I told him, you have the experience of the so-called losing time and space, and you have experience of the oneness kind of things. It's very precious, And do you understand or try to empathy your father, a veteran from Vietnam War? How come he will use violence to resolve every problems he encounter? Maybe it's that violence. He did not know how to take care of the life issues. Maybe, he did not know how to take care of or how to love his wife, how to love his children. Maybe violence is a way he showed his life, love to you. And he just keeps silent. And at the end, I need to run, and then I encourage him, you retire. He told me a lot of stories. You retire early because you have enough money. It seems like he's a high-tech people that seems to make a lot of money, so he can retire early. You have a good life right now, but you need to let go of the hatred to your father. Through the experience of your meditative mind, this tells you something. This the notion of no time and no space, even though it's still a phenomenon, it tried to tell you something. So here, long story, but there are so many mental activity. First, when things happen right now, when you found out that you have emotion right now, we have to let go. And there are so many mental memories, trauma in our mind that we also need to let go. Otherwise, when we practice in a more advanced level, all this will come up. And since the mind is so subtle, this trauma in our mind has strong power, it's like a volcano explorer, that it will affect our mind and we cannot remain in Samadhi. So as a practitioners, we need to detach all the mental activities at different levels. That's very important. The third levels that Buddha taught us. We need to detach from the intention to detach. We try to, we know that, oh, this world it's bad, this, even my mind is not, problems. And so we try to use a method, try to not really detach, but intended to detach from all this objective world and subjective mind. And this is, Buddha said, this is also attachment. We try to use something to detach something. This intention is also an attachment that we need to let go. Okay. So people trying to, like I said, as a practitioner, we use method. Try to, people like to go to the high mountain. They don't want to practice in this noisy world, so noisy, people and things, sounds all around, too much. I'm going to high mountain and no disturbing things outside, and then, and then I can use a method to focus and still my mind at a certain point. And then I can detach from all the suffering. Buddha say, sorry, this is also attachment, but we need to let go. And the highest level, the fourth level is even the concept of detachment. You think that the detachment exists, also need to be detached. Any concept is a Dharma attachment. So you think that enlightenment is a state that it detach all the illusion, just like what Buddha said. And when Buddha tried to use analogy to help us understand what enlightenment is, and then we would stick to that, go to the other extreme as a concept to hold on to. And right now Buddha say, okay, even though I say illusion, detach all the illusions, but once we have the concept of detachment, no matter what we detach from, are also illusion. Okay. Let me give you an example. I try to find a more clear photo, but this is the best I can find right now. This is a koan that the old government supported a practitioner monk for 3 years. And then one day he asked her daughter, saying that, after you offer the meal, hug this monk and ask him say something. So the first time the daughter hugged the monk, and monk say, okay, well, it's a dead ulak laying on cold stone. And so the daughter went to his mom and say, repeat the statement. And the old woman get very angry, say, I'm offering this monk in vain. So he chasing this monk away. It's not a practice, no progress. A few years later, this monk came back and asked that old woman, say, I'm better now, I can practice well now. I'm transcend. So the old woman offered this monk again for another 3 years. And then the same story. The daughter hugged this monk after offering the meal. And then The daughter asked, say something, say something. The monk say, okay, how do you feel? No. The monk say, heaven knows, the earth knows, you know, and I know, but don't tell your mom. And then, of course, the daughter went back, went to her mom and repeat the statement. And this old woman just laughed. Great achievement, great achievement. So this go on trying to tell us that if at the first stage, when the monk in the state of, the feeling is like a deck block leaning on the cold stone, that means this monk already detached from the subjectivity and objectivity. But the Buddha nature, the true mind, did not manifest yet. He did not see the true mind yet. So he become the objective role become a deadlock, and his mind become a cold stone. So a few years later, when he transcend he tried to depart from objectivity and subjectivity. But then the last stage is very important. He transcend the attachment from, he wanted to detach from subjectivity and objectivity, to let go of the concept of detachment. Then his mind come to alive, even though he can feel, he knew everything clearly, subjectivity wise and objectivity wise. He know everything clearly, but his mind is not moved by things, the things inside and within and without. Okay. Now, Buddha conclude, when there remains nothing to be detached from, all illusions are eliminated, and means that we can see our true enlightened mind. And here Buddha gives an analogy. So this the process of detachment is just like the detachment. We use illusory mind to detach from illusory phenomena. This kind of detachment at different levels is like drilling two pieces of wood to start a fire. We all know that, we need two pieces to drill two woods together, and then the fire will ignite. And then when the fire ignites, it will burn up these two pieces of wood. So these two woods represent our subjective mind and objective phenomena drilled together. And when the fire ignites, means the wisdom manifest, it will burn together the subjective mind and objective phenomena. When these two pieces of wood burn up, and then the smoke stops, and eventually the ashes are blown away by wind. Nothing left. So using illusion to eliminate illusion is the same process. But a reminder from Buddha, even though illusions are eliminated, one does not fall into the concept of annihilation. That, oh, nothing exists. This emptiness is not like a deadlock laying coastal, or in a state of voidness that nothing exists. So there is a Buddha nature. What the Manjushri asked, this complete enlightenment there will all the phenomena arise from the Buddha nature. Okay. So we still have the function of the mind, but there is nothing. The enlightenment does not attach to anything. So Buddha concludes saying that the method is actually knowing illusion is departing from it. There is no need to contrive expedient means. And departing from illusion is called enlightenment. There is no need to follow gradual step. If practicing accordingly, one is able to permanently depart from illusion. In other words, Buddha get back to the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra's questions. We know that, okay, there is a complete enlightenment, there's Buddha nature. And we know that body and mind are all illusory. Unfortunately, we cannot, see it now. Is any expedient means for gradual practice? That's Buddha's final answer. Once you know that illusion, you have already departed from it. And once you depart from the illusion, then it's enlightenment. No gradual step, no expedient means. If we can practice accordingly, then we are able to permanently depart from illusion. My understanding is that oftentimes, as like me, an ordinary practitioner, I know that this is illusion. I know life is impermanent, and then I gradually try to decrease my attachment or decrease my suffering. For example, I still attach to things. I like certain food. Different things. But I know that I should, I leave home, so I don't have too much choices. So, I gradually let go of the things. And I know I have some memories, bad memories in my mind that I need to let go, I need to forgive. But I cannot do it right away, so I do it gradually. But the problem is, that's why it's sometimes if we don't do, sometimes we will use illusory, a mundane reason to help us let go of the things, detach the things. But it's like use illusory illusions to explain illusion. And sometimes maybe it seems like you have less angry, you have less attachment to material world. But indeed, you strengthened other attachment. it's really hard to explain. For example, you keeping the precept, you think that, you know, not killing is good. Don't kill. You follow the precept. I'm not killing, you know, and you know, and you know, don't lie, you know, don't get angry, don't crave for things. And I just use this mundane reason, you know, help myself to have less craving, less hatred. But on the other hand, we enhance the concept of craving is bad, hatred is bad. And it's also illusion, you know, at the same level. It's like, you know, if you move something from here to here, it's still, you know, not a middle way, and still you cannot get true liberation. So Buddha is here trying to help us to understand when this, you know that this is illusion, just stop it. Don't use other concepts, use other reasons, other things, try to, you know, make it last, seems last. It will have another level or aspect of attachment come from it. So the best way to sever all illusions permanently is to knowing illusion, then depart from it. And when we can depart from illusion, it's called enlightenment. That's, sorry, my understanding. And so in the book, Shifu saying that we all exist in non-existence. We exist in the dream. The problem is to wake up from the dream. So from Buddha's teaching here at this level, Buddha say, we are either awake or not awake. Illusion or not illusion. Enlightened or not enlightened. There is no like gradual step, like 50% awake and 50% awake. In other words, half my mind is operating in this awake world, and half my mind is still operating in a dream and chasing for the money and, you know, food, something. It's impossible. It's awake or not awake, enlightened or not enlightened. There is no gradual step. Okay, again, this is for those that has entered into the first muni, according to the master's interpretation. Okay, I have stopped here for the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra.
Okay, great. Thanks, Fashi, for this profound teaching. Now we maybe have a few minutes left just for Q&A. If anyone have questions related to today's talk, feel free to unmute yourself. Okay, I see there are two questions. Yeah, Miranda, then followed by Chenrong Pusa.
Amitabha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Fantastic. Amitabha, thank you very much, Venerable Chang-Hwa, for an enlightening lecture. So, illusion. Excuse me, I have a friend. In fact, it's a friend of a group of friends who is lying. We know he's lying. And because what's happened is he's gotten into a new business venture and met some people, new people. And these new people are not the greatest people for him as well as for the business venture. So he has been hiding that from us. And when I asked, he would actually say, oh, no. So this last time, what he did was not only did he lie, he also lied to me that my friends are saying that there's a problem with me. So how I'm seeing this is all crazy accusations that is not true. So the more I try to explain, the more I try to find out from him, the worse it becomes. The accusations of how bad I am is basically his lying is getting worse. So I'm approaching this with the fact that everything that he's saying or this whole phenomenon is just an illusion. I should just forget about it. Don't even justify with him. Just forget it. Illusionary in mental state, illusionary, objectivity, subjectivity, everything all in there. What is your opinion on this? Thank you.
You know what? You use the illusion concept as a way that you try to detach from everything, and you are trapped in the concept of illusion. I would say it sounds like you are at the third level, but actually you are in the first level of attaching to the world phenomena. You see, we created our own world. Our own world is the perception of each individual. And then when things happen in this scenario, there are a lot of things happen, but it is our mind that decided how we perceive it. So in the Sutra of Samadhi of imaginary manifestations, actually Manjushri, empowered by Buddha, they played a show. Manjushri stand up and grab a knife and try to kill Buddha. Everyone was so shocked, like, what happened? You all know that when Su Yao Zan Fo, everybody was so shocked. But you see, they all got enlightened after this scenario. They found out that good thing and bad thing are all imaginary manifestation. But like I said, for ordinary people, I cannot truly understand. But I know is they all the assembly in the sutra are entering into a very high level of samadhi. They can contemplate, see phenomena in a very subtle way. So that's why Buddha and Manjushri can play this show to break their attachment. But for us, we are ordinary people, right? So I think that person trying to lie to you, but actually everybody knows. He did not lie to everyone, he lied to himself. And then as the individual, he did not lie to you. You lied to yourself. You are fooled by yourself, not by that person.
That's very enlightening. I can see why now. I can totally see it. That's great.
Anyway, this is all a question for us to contemplate. I think that this is not an ultimate answer yet, but and again, Bodhisattva Samantabhadra is very high level of Bodhisattva. So it's next to Manjushri about the practice. So actually this teaching is very profound, very profound.
Well, thank you very much for bringing it this way.
Gradually lowered down to ordinary people's level.
Fantastic. This is great. This paves the way to the right way, the right path of practice. Thank you very much. Amitabha.
Thanks. Next, Chenrong Pusa, please be quick. I think we still have last person, Larry. I think that will be the end of the Q&A session. So just one question, please. hi, Ron. I think you can unmute. You were unmuted. Can go ahead to ask your questions.
Try. Okay, Fashi Amitofo.
Oh,
Thank you for this very penetrating talk. My question is related to your explanation of how to treat the bad things and how to actually use a middle way. I feel that it's a pretty high level, and when you can use middle way, the right approach of middle way is pretty high level. For ordinary practitioners, we still have to discriminate. So if you don't discriminate, you may be join, be supportive of the bad acts of, and then so normally we will encourage ourselves to be good, and we will try to still do discriminate and then try to follow the precepts. So I appreciate your further explanation. What is the right approach of applying the middle way, and whether it is when you actually a deep practitioner, then you can really truly use the middle way. Otherwise, I think we still discriminate and try to follow precepts. Thank you.
thank you. Any question? Because we have a chanting this afternoon. So, any other question?
Yes. I think there are two more questions, but if we don't have time, maybe we can save for next talk. This series talk will continue at the same time next Sunday as well.
Actually, all of us cannot understand precisely the teaching, or we can knowledge it wise to understand it, but we actually cannot truly understand. So that's why the Bodhisattva universal vision ask more questions. There are more Bodhisattva ask questions for us to help us understand and practice.